Good evening, Florida FBLA. Tonight, we have an interesting twist to the usual webinar, but before we go any further, we're going to take a moment of silence. Thank you. Now, we're going to introduce your state officer team. First up is your Region 1 Vice President, Madison Jones.
Hey, guys.
Following that is your Region 3 Vice President, Melissa Espinoza.
Hi, everyone.
Next is your Region 4 Vice President, Aditi Mishra.
Hi, my name's Aditi.
After that, we have Indu Parmeshwan, your state parliamentarian.
Hi, guys.
And then last but not least, joining us tonight is Kenai Gupte, your state reporter.
Hey, everyone.
Unfortunately, Shady Mina and Brody Mandelbaum are unable to be joining us tonight. Hopefully, Shady will hop on in a little bit, but for right now, he's working on some things and trying to make it home. So this evening, we're going to be working on a different kind of perspective. We're going to look into the life of FBLA members from all of the varying levels, as well as kind of each year of high school to demonstrate how FBLA is effective no matter how old you are or what year you're in. Before we do that, Aditi is going to briefly cover the upcoming State Fall Conference and National Fall Leadership Conference.
Okay, so the reason why we're going over these first is because these are events that you guys can participate in regardless of what year you're in. So both of these events are a little more unknown than conferences with competitive events, and it's usually because of that same reason. I've seen that a lot of people and chapters in general are really focused on what FBLA is competitively, but I know that one of the best ways to get the full FBLA experience is to participate in conferences that are more like the National Fall Leadership Conference and the State Fall Leadership Conference. These events are more focused on making connections, attending workshops, and gaining skills that's going to make you a more well-rounded business leader in the long run. Attending these conferences really helps you integrate into FBLA and make the most of the organization that you're in. And I know that a lot of people are currently asking themselves that question, like right before district events begin, how to stay involved in the organization before states or nationals. And I really do think that this is the perfect way because you can still meet new people. And these two are definitely the best way to learn more about FBLA while also showing your commitment to the organization. If you already know that you're attending this conference and like me have been there several times, you can even host a workshop of your own. For example, this year at the National Fall Leadership Conference and at the State Fall Leadership Conference, Kenai and I are hosting one on self-image and how to appeal to employers because we've learned a lot about that since we've joined FBLA, and I really think it's like great to be able to convey that skill to everyone else. I hope you all are interested, and you can reach out to any of us or specifically to me with any questions. The State Fall Leadership Conference is in Orlando on November 2nd to 4th, and the National Fall Leadership Conference for Florida members is usually in Charlotte, and it's on November 16th to 17th, so I hope to see you all there.
Fantastic job, Aditi. Just from personal experience, the National Fall Leadership Conference and especially the State Fall Leadership Conference are wonderful, wonderful ways to get to meet new people and to network. If you're interested in getting to meet people from around the country, take advantage of the National Fall Leadership Conferences. You don't necessarily just have to go to Charlotte. You've got other opportunities the weekend before that. And then before that, there is if you are unable to go to the State Fall Leadership Conference. So please take advantage of all of these opportunities that are present to you. Now to get on to the main portion for tonight. Indu, get us started.
So here I am. I'm here to talk about the middle level committee and middle level as an organization. So middle level is your first chance to be involved in FBLA, whether it's your first time in a chapter or your first time going to states. There are special competitive events exclusive to middle level members, and you even have your own state leadership conference awards ceremony. There's also a middle level lead program, which members can compete in a series of tasks to be recognized in FBLA. And here's another update. This year, the state office is hosting a middle level committee where members, if they're selected, can shadow and learn what it's like to be a state officer. If you are a middle level member or know a middle level member aspiring to take their FBLA journey to the next level, contact the state officer team. Every new member of FBLA is probably buzzing with questions like, what is FBLA all about, or how will it help me in the future? And the best way for all middle level members to get answers to their questions is through experienced FBLA members in all grade levels. So it's important for every middle level member to reach out.
Thank you, Indu. Awesome job. Another big thing about the middle level committee is applications will soon go out for that. So please just stay careful, talk to your advisor if you're interested, and make sure to stay in the loop if you are interested. Next up is Madison.
Okay, so freshman year. It's the beginning of many new things. And for some students, it's the beginning of their FBLA. Some students might have already had a great opportunity to flow, which is amazing. You get a head start in your FBLA career, and you already know the basics of FBLA. But for the students going into their freshman year, I've never heard of the organization. It's important to learn and find out all the information about FBLA and what we have to offer. After you are officially a member, the next thing will be competition. Being a new member, I suggest you starting your an easier competition or doing something you know about. Just don't overwhelm yourself in your first year. Also, as a new member, it's a great idea to communicate with your fellow FBLA members, connections, and friendships throughout your 4 years in high school. A great way to do this is at your district rally or your state and national conferences. During FBLA at state competition, during my free time, I just went around and started up competitions. Learned a lot about what FBLA has to offer. The one thing I learned very early on in my freshman year is that FBLA is always fun and games. Everyone takes competition very seriously. You need to work hard in this club if you want to be an outstanding member. So just always give it your 100% with everything you do and your host. And if you start out your freshman year a great member, odds are your senior year you're going to do even better. And who knows, if you work hard enough, maybe you'll become your next district president, or maybe even assistant, or even better, when your senior year rolls around, you can take advantage of the things FBLA has to offer and win a scholarship. So all the freshmen in FBLA, I wish you the best of luck these next 4 years. Make them count and be the best FBLA member you can be.
Thank you, Madison, for that phenomenal advice. Next up, we have Melissa going over sophomore year.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so FBLA mainly has high school level division. So that means most members join freshman year. Freshman year is a year to be introduced to FBLA. So when you get into sophomore year, that's really going to be where you're going to start taking off, when you're going to start setting goals. If you want to run for office within your chapter, if you want to run for state office, district office. This is really your year to refine yourself and to start your BAA. If you haven't already, it's just the most important year, in my opinion, because when you get to junior and senior year, you want to already know where you stand in FBLA and you want to have set goals. So by taking care of this between sophomore and freshman year, which are really the introductory years, you'll be set for your path to FBLA and hopefully going on to the professional division. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Next up will be Kenai Gupta going over junior year.
So I'll actually be going over junior and senior year, and these two are your last years in FBLA and really your chance to leave your mark. During junior year, this is your last year to really get any recognition that you can use for college. FBLA looks great for college applications. Lots of universities recognize it as an outstanding organization that really tributes to your character. So make sure to go all out, whether it's winning your competition or running for office. Run for the highest options you can, whether it's district, state, or national, whatever you can do. Go all out. For your senior year, amidst applying for college, taking your hardest classes, make sure you save some time for FBLA and take advantage of the networking and connections you can achieve through FBLA. Although you're a senior, FBLA hasn't forgotten about you. There's many programs where you can network and meet with people, such as the National Senior Networking Session, where you meet other seniors from across the nation to expand your network. Also to apply for scholarships. Many of the FBLA scholarships are only open to seniors. It's your time to apply and lower that debt.
Thank you, Kenai. Before we move any further, we're going to go through each of the officers and let them share a little anecdote from their high school years thus far in FBLA. We'll get started with Aditi.
Okay, I think if I was to talk about high school, I would talk about my freshman year, because that's when I first ran for district president, and it was probably the most terrifying thing that I ever did. But of course, it paid off. I did get to win my election, and I got to serve my first term as district president freshman year, my second term in sophomore year. And following those 2 years, that really gave me a good foundation in order to run for state office in the same year, in sophomore year. And honestly, the only reason that I was even able to run for district president in freshman year was because in 8th grade, I had run for district office and I had won secretary. So I was already a district officer. I had learned the way chapter office worked in middle level and high school level. And then I was able to convey that skills into district office. And I truly think that when you get started so early, the only way to go is up. So once you complete the middle level and you understand how vital your younger members are, then it makes you that more compelled to go into office and help include those people. And as we go forward and I continue to run for office, it just makes me remember that those years were my foundational years and I only want to build on that.
Great, E.T. Indu?
My biggest experience with FBLA was actually as well in my freshman year when I was doing a competition. So I was working with upperclassmen for my competition, and that was the biggest struggle for me because it's so difficult to tell people that have already gone through another year of life in the same place where you are now, how they should edit themselves and change themselves to do better at a competition. So the biggest takeaway from that experience is to break all boundaries in the very beginning of interaction. So instead of waiting until the middle of your competition to kind of say, hey, I think we should look at each other like equals, start off as equals and make sure everyone knows that we're all on the same page trying to improve our experience in FBLA and get better.
Thank you, Andrew. Great advice. Kenai?
So, a great experience that I had through high school FBLA was actually probably a conversation that I had with my advisor this past couple weeks. We sat down, we talked, and he spoke to me about how I've actually grown so much through high school. I met him back in the 8th grade at State, and I came to his school, and he pushed me to run for district office. And I was a shy, introverted kid, and through FBLA, I've grown as a leader, as a person, and it was just really cool to think back and reflect on my experience and how I can attribute my success to FBLA.
Thank you, Kenai. Madison?
So the most memorable thing from FBLA was probably for my 10th grade year, and I competed with a senior and a freshman, and I went through a lot of trouble with that, and I ended up having to take the leadership role in our competition. And through that struggle, I kind of grew as a person and as a leader. And I decided I wanted to run as a state officer. And even though I went through all that, the struggle of that, I learned something in the end, and I got something in return.
Fantastic. Melissa?
My most memorable parts of FBLA have definitely been my sophomore year, because although in my freshman year I started to think of my goals and what I wanted to do, sophomore year was really when everything came into light. My first year of FBLA in high school, we didn't really have an officer team. We had 5 members in our chapter. So by sophomore year, we tripled our membership. We went to the fall conference, which was in Daytona, and it was actually a national fall conference. For the first time our district had been in years. That was the first year our school and our district had been in a long time to the National Leadership Conference. All around, it was just a good year of expanding boundaries, expanding our membership. We had a walk for the March of Dimes. It was just really progressive, and I felt really invested in FBLA. I also was elected into district office that year, which really started me on my path to be where I am this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. So for me, it kind of ties into more so the simpler things, the little things in FBLA, the friendships, the different events, those moments, those memories, and they kind of accumulate and come together to build this overarching image that expands throughout your FBLA journey. One of my favorite quotes is by Edgar Rice Burroughs, and he says that, what does it matter what you like and what you don't like? You're only here but an instant, and you mustn't waste it. And Aditi's laughing, because I've said this before to them on one of my 5th of the month reports. But the big thing about it is, to me, that quote means take a step back. get to spend time, get to know each other. This past year, getting to know all my officers has been phenomenal. And getting to meet these different people and really, working with them, working alongside them, getting to be a part of their lives is something that you can never be taken away from you. It's an experience, it's an opportunity unlike any other. So get involved. You see someone in the back of the room, someone new to your class who, they're kind of shy, they don't talk to people, invite them to FBLA. That's what happened with me. Well, as my teacher invited me. But the big thing is invite them. Bring them in. Get to know them. Be a part of their lives because it means so much to them. It'll have such a lasting impact on you. Okay, so one last thing before we go. I'm going to note a little bit on PBL and PD. So FBLA, the PBL organization, is wonderful, not just because of its high school experience, not just because of the middle level experience, but the lasting long time impact that it has on your life as an individual. Due to PBL, the collegiate level, and due to PD, which is kind of the workforce and the professional division, it ties in everything that you've learned when you were younger, but it also ties in everything that you know in the future. It's where FBLA can be a part of your life, and you can give back to what gave to you when you were younger. You can learn different things. You can network. You can meet businesses. PBL holds workshops for different internships. They have opportunities at these conferences. At the National Fall Leadership Conference, the PBL members will be separate and they get taken to go do interviews in the area. They get to do job shadowing. They kind of see different industries in these locations that we're traveling. It's just a wonderful opportunity that you can't pass up. Plus, there's one secret is when you start paying for your own things, such as insurance and whatnot, car insurance and these other items can be very expensive, but FBLA has partners such as Geico, which can lower your rates and they can take discounts. So even then, it helps you out in the financial spectrum as well, personally. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to know? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and say adieu and say goodnight. Thank you for joining us, and as always, have a wonderful week. If you need anything, we've got something very special coming out later this month as we move to a new Q&A format. If you have any suggestions, you need any help, just let us know. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.